Welcome to Third Floor Views, a production of Chesapeake Family Life, where we talk about health, education, and living with kids. I'm your host, Janet Jefferson. Today, we're talking about fun activities over the holidays and ways to give back. Joining us is Claire Darcy, content manager at Chesapeake Family Life. Thank you so much for joining me today, Claire.
Thank you for having me, Janet. I really appreciate it.
To our viewers, please feel free to submit any questions or comments you have in the comment section, and we will try to get to as many of those as we can. Let's get started. So Claire, let's sort of start at the beginning. And maybe for those who are new to join us and are just sort of stumbling across this, can you just tell us a little bit about what is Chesapeake Family Life and what does it offer?
I would be happy to, because it might take me like 10 minutes though to get through. Because whenever I'm asked this question and when we're doing events, I just say we are a parenting resource. We are a family resource for things to do, for education, for health, for living with kids, just like you said, but also for fun. What we love to do and what I find is I call it our bread and butter, is that we gather information that we think would be helpful to families in our area. And whether that means that if you're looking for a private school, we're helping with having directories that you can, scroll through private schools. If you're in need of a new pediatrician or you need a specialist, like we have health articles. If you want to do something fun with your kids over the weekend and you want to go find a Santa sighting, or you want to take them on a hike, or you want to go on a bike ride, or you want to find places to go fossil hunting, we have all of that information. That's what we spend our time doing, is with our writers, with our content. It's always focused on things that will help you as a family and just be a part of what you do in your daily lives. So, and oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But the best part is that not only are we a print magazine, though, we are all over social media. We have a really great website. We consider ourselves a multimedia company. And sometimes that does sound like a buzzword, but it's not. It just means that you can access us from so many different channels. We have an e-newsletter that goes to your inbox twice a week, so that if you don't necessarily have the time to scroll through the internet, come onto our website. You can go right into your inbox, and there we've gathered what we put together for that week, suggestions of places to go, plans to make for the weekend, on, like I said, all sorts of topics. And so I love the e-newsletter for that exact reason, that sometimes it's like right there in my inbox. And it's like, oh yeah, holiday shows. I wanted to get a ticket to go see the Nutcracker. My daughter, she loves ballet. And it's like, cool, click, got it done. And it takes me right to where I want the information to be. So
Definitely. It makes your life so much easier and it saves so much time. I think one of the other things that's so powerful about Chesapeake Family Life is that it is so local, and it's a great resource when you're looking for something that is right in your area compared to, maybe another national parenting publication, or even when you're looking at maybe, if you're reading the New York Times or the New York Post, that's not as necessarily as helpful. So Claire, could you just really quickly say, what are the main areas that Chesapeake Family Life covers geographically?
Sure. And to your point about like a national public parenting publication, what is great about our reach is that by living in, right in between Baltimore and DC, we are able to not only include those, but then have more local. So I mentioned, the Nutcracker. Maybe the Kennedy Center isn't an appropriate or, an affordable place for you to take your 18-month-old, but, there is a local theater company that puts on a great production, and it's right here in downtown Annapolis.
Mhm.
And so we cover a lot of Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Prince George's County. We do Eastern Shore. We make sure that we gather information from the Eastern Shore, and little bits of Montgomery County too, we feel. Our radius when looking at events is, because we're so centralized, that it
Mhm.
really does hit up a lot. We even go into Calvert County and sometimes St. Mary's County as well.
So it covers a lot of ground. So that's
It
a
does.
really a valuable resource.
We
When
always want
they're
Yeah, we always let people know too, like, less than an hour away. Like if we suggest
Mhm.
this, we'll kind of try and give that direction of we're not trying to send people, three, like, oh, you can go to this amazing park, but it's, 3 hours away kind of
Right.
thing. So
Right. That's
yeah.
true. That's a really good point. And then Claire, can you just briefly tell us a little bit about you and your role and how you sort of end up being the events expert? You've your title being content manager. What does that actually mean?
Well, it means that I get to write all the things. No, I'm just kidding. It means that I get to have my hands in all different spots. So whether it's updating a certain article that we have because it's time sensitive. I mentioned Santa sightings. So I'm currently going through trying to find where Santa will appear so that people can make plans. And I started here at Chesapeake Family almost 8 years ago, and my son just turned 12 yesterday. So I have gone from having the toddlers, having the preschoolers, and it's just been an amazing, um, it's incredible how relative it was for me having small kids, and that at each stage I'm just finding content that we have that is just appropriate for as my kids are getting older. So like I said, when they were toddlers and in preschool, I was very interested when Chesapeake Family would give like here's a great places to take your preschooler. As they got older, more like our STEAM fair, how my daughter would get into like the building the robots and things like that. And um, so that's been a really incredible thing, that just how each stage I'm finding, and I think that's why being the content manager, it it's because it's still all so interesting to me, and it's still I can relate to it, knowing like, oh, I'm going to update this, or I think that this would be a really great article to write, or have one of our freelancers to talk about this particular topic, whether it is in health or education, or again the fun stuff. So.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a lot of fun. And I think that is a good reminder too on that. It is such a valuable resource for everyone, all families, no matter sort of what stage you're at with your family. And even if you don't have kids, it's a great resource.
Mhm.
So let's get into it. Let's get into the fun stuff. So Thanksgiving's coming up. And with all these recent vaccinations, everything's opening up a little bit more, looking at visiting more family. So what are some maybe fun activities or events that are happening around the Thanksgiving holiday?
Well, one of the first things you always think of when you think of Thanksgiving, of course, is food. So, a fun thing that, well, I think it's fun, is that we have a full list of places where you can get farm fresh turkeys for your
Mm,
holiday meal. Um, and so many of them are not just, don't think like a grocery store with a freezer. They're working farms, they're livable farms, and they usually they have other produce available. And I think that you can go and visit the farm, and there will be animals, but to be able to like take your kids to show them what a working farm and how that is, and then the whole farm to table concept of fresh turkeys, supporting local farmers. So that's been something that I really I'm glad that we were able to have that information. And I mean, farm fresh turkeys, it just sounds delicious. But then again, you can get things for your sides. They can have eggs, there are other meats available. So they're just an idea, if that's what you're looking for for your Thanksgiving meal. Other things, of course, after you eat all the food, maybe you might want to run it off. And so turkey trots and fun runs are big around here. And what's really great, like you said, as things are starting to come back, some are in person again this year, some are still virtual. So depending on your level of comfort, being in large crowds, you can do them virtually, which is just amazing that we have that capability to do that. And you can go, there's tons of them, and they can be like 1K fun runs for your kids, so that it's a shorter, they can be 5Ks, there's up to 10Ks. And like the YMCA, all of the YMCA's in Maryland are partnering, and they are doing a virtual run. So you would be connected with all the YMCA's all over Maryland. Jug Bay down in Lothian, the nature preserve, they are doing a post-Thanksgiving one. Some are happening on Thanksgiving morning. Some are happening in the week leading up to Thanksgiving.
That's good to know.
If you if you're a runner and you like and you do lights on the bay at Sandy
Mhm.
Point State Park, I feel like that's an Anne Arundel County staple, is lights on the bay. But you can get a different perspective, and so instead of driving through, they do have a dash through the snow, so that you can run through lights on the bay, which is really cool. That's a fun one to do. And yeah, we have there's runs out in Cambridge, Frederick, Columbia. So like when you said, asked about our reach, that yeah, we cover a lot of those areas.
That's great
Um,
to know. I think that's also good to know that they're not all happening on Thanksgiving Day. So if for whatever reason that's not working with your family schedule, then you could still participate in another way.
yep.
What are maybe some volunteer opportunities that are available or upcoming for families, and maybe some ways to give back?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot, which is really great. I mean, even the turkey trots, so many of them are fundraisers, or if you run your course, registration fee covers the cost of a turkey for a family in need.
Hmm.
So we can even like put that. That's fun and ways to give back. But just other things. There are tons of food drives around this time of year, donating to the Maryland Food Bank, Feed Anne Arundel. There's the Anne Arundel Food Bank. Every county in Maryland has their own food bank, in which they accept donations. And it's super easy to get on their websites and just see, because sometimes they will have a wish list of certain non-perishable foods. And then, of course, around this time of year, though, they might need some perishable foods like
Hmm. Mhm.
turkeys or vegetables versus like say peanut butter.
Mhm.
That's just an example. There are also tons of toy drives. I don't know if you're familiar with the Salvation Army. They do a angel tree in which you can adopt a child in need, and provide a present for them. And that's
Hmm.
something that the Salvation Army has been doing for a long time. There's the Children's Home Holiday Gift Drive. There's Toys for Tots. Um, there's Child's Play, all of these places. They give you drop off locations and specify if it needs to be wrapped. Again, you can always get information on, like, if you're buying a Lego set, for you write like what age it would be appropriate for if you were buying a Barbie doll. And I'm just going to go down my list. If you don't mind, I have my list right here, which is why I'm moving my eyes away from the camera, because there's just some really great things. And really, I want to say just like super important, but also I think the convenience and the easiness of them, like being able to just drop off Toys for Tots
Mhm.
at a donation bin. The coat drives, there are a lot of places that will accept coats to help people through the cold winter weather. Admiral Cleaners will even come pick them up.
Hmm.
Giving Back, Linda's Legacy, that was something, it's a organization that's same thing, that they donate or they collect coats and other warm clothes to help people. And another coat drive is called One Warm Coat. And all of these, most of them are really local here too, like right
Mhm.
around Annapolis. So you know that they're going to help people within our county, within our state, which is great. Um, Volunteering, there's tons of places to volunteer, and it can either, they even are offering virtual volunteering,
Hmm.
with COVID regulations and things like that. Most would, you can sign up for different time slots. There's Meals on Wheels, there's United Way. The Catholic Charities of Baltimore have tons of different locations. There's Beans and Bread. There's one that's from downtown Annapolis. It's called We Care and Friend. There's Happy Helpers for the Homeless. And all of these places also, they are find that donations, monetary donations, are also very much appreciated.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that if you don't necessarily have the time to be able to volunteer in person, that is extremely helpful as well.
But
But
Claire, that's so great to know that there is volunteering in person this year. I know
Mhm,
last year when we were discussing ways to give back, so many organizations weren't offering in-person volunteering because of COVID. So the fact that
mhm.
now that's an option again, I think it's such a great way to not only give back to the community, but to build community. So I know that a lot of people were really craving that. So that's nice to know that that's happening this year.
And there's a couple creative ways in order to do that too, by just going to certain restaurants. That what they do, the Bread and Butter Kitchen in Eastport, they have a Feed It Forward program where if
Hmm.
you go, you're able to support a local business by eating, and then you can purchase a gift card, and then that will cover a full meal for one person. And what the Feed It Forward program does is then they take those gift cards and distribute them throughout the county to people who are in need. There's also the Lighthouse Bistro. They're connected with the Lighthouse Shelter. And by going, you can get coffee, you can have a meal there. What you're doing is that you are supporting their mission to help people out of homelessness through job training, through all sorts of different programs. And so that's a really great way. And it's the best of both worlds, because then you get a meal and then you're also knowing that you're helping just by supporting these local businesses who are then helping local citizens.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I know, especially in around the holidays, things are so busy and crazy. Sometimes eating a meal out is actually the easiest thing for a family to do.
Mhm.
And this is such a great opportunity then to do that, but then give back at the same time.
Yeah. And you
Um,
can go to them, throughout the year. It just doesn't have to be this time of year. And I know a lot of places, like I mentioned, United Way, and that um, you can go and sign up for volunteer shifts that create bagged lunches, though. So it doesn't even have to be specified to a Thanksgiving meal. That they also, so you could be making sandwiches or you could be bagging lunches.
mhm,
The Anne
mhm.
Arundel County Public Library, the Discoveries at the Mall, they have a mama and baby pantry in which they accept donations for mother and baby supplies like diapers and wipes and baby shampoo and women's supplies like pads and tampons. And so those are places that also just are so grateful. And it's just a nice, easy way to give back.
Mhm, mhm. What about outdoor activities? So, I think
Yeah.
that's something that we relied a lot on, the past now almost 2 years
Right.
is what's a safe place to take kids? And it's like, oh, we got to go outside. So maybe what are some outdoor activities if you're especially still concerned about COVID and you can be like, oh, it's a great place to just take masks off and run free. What are some suggestions that you have?
Well, I think you've hit the mother lode, because holiday light displays, because they are all outdoors. Some you stay in your own car, and you just drive through with the windows down, and they have the Christmas music, the holiday music. I'm looking at we've got 10
Oh
listings
my
here
gosh.
already of different and yeah, they can there's at Brookside Gardens, they've done up, there's Homestead Gardens, the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, they have a zoo lights. Ocean City has its own Winterfest of lights, and that's a walking tour. I mentioned Lights on the Bay, of course. Watkins Park, they do a festival of lights. Symphony in the Woods in Columbia, they have a walk. I believe that's a drive-through. That there's just so many light displays, and then they get even more creative. Not only do they do walking and drive-through light displays, then there are boat parades where people decorate their boats. And there's a lot. There's one in Washington, D.C. There's one in Solomon's Island, St. Michael's. They have these boat parades. And there's just more than I would have expected. But it's so great. I've been to one. And they light up these beautiful boats. Sometimes they have fireworks after the boat parade. And so that's a really great way to socially distance, be outside, but yet be able to see really beautiful lights on boats, and then walk through gardens and see them, all the trees lit up. And so those are some really, I would like totally 100% recommend any sort of holiday light display to get you in the holiday spirit. And just, I still marvel at them. I love holiday lights. I don't think I'll ever get over just the magic of them, and like, oh, they're so pretty. So so those are like the two I would say. And then I don't know if how many, shopping, of course, is a big deal around this time of year, of course. And so lots of holiday craft fairs where you can find really unique gifts. A lot of them are just kind of pop-ups outside, you don't always necessarily need to be inside. And so we have information about the craft fairs and festivals that are going on.
Any
One
other interesting things that are happening between? So I would imagine that a lot of those are between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Are there any other things that are happening then as well? So I think, yeah, shopping and sort of the outdoor festivals. But what other sort of activities are there to do?
So in looking at my list here, it seems that the dates are all coming up. So today's the 12th of November, correct? And so many of these things are starting to open up within the next week or so, and then running through usually a little bit past New Year's. So, but other things that are happening, like that you can start now, ice skating. So a lot of ice skating rinks actually weren't open last year, despite it being an outdoor activity. But I believe it was the tactile with skate rentals and, things like that. So there have been a ton of places, ice skating places that have opened up. And when it's not 65 degrees outside, then they're both indoor and outdoor too. So we have a big roundup of the places that you can go ice skating. And that's such a fun family friendly activity, especially even little ones. I know you have little ones, but they have those cart, or things that I use. I'm not ahead of just for balance. And it's amazing to see the confidence that kids get. Like they get on the ice and they're like, oh, and then soon they're like going circles around you. So that would be another highly suggested outdoor fun thing to do.
And then Claire, a lot of those ice skating rinks, they're going to be open beyond the New Year's, right? They should be open in January and February as well, not just a holiday thing. Okay, great.
And you can always, we will try and specify if they have public skate times, because I believe they're used for hockey practice and things like that. So public skate times. And yeah, that's when I say getting that information, is that like you come to an article. When I call it a roundup, it's because I have a whole list of different ice skating rinks and then live links that literally you click on it and it takes you right to their page that says public skating from this day to this day, and just gives you all that information.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What about performances? Are there any? So you have mentioned a couple of times things like the Nutcracker, and I must admit I haven't been to see, a ballet or a Nutcracker in forever. And now with two little girls, I imagine that's probably going to be on the list at some point. Are you seeing a lot of different performances coming up, and like how does that work? With COVID, are people still doing, being really protective? And are you seeing a lot of virtual stuff? Or are you seeing some in person? And then are you seeing some like outdoor theater? What's sort of the lineup look like for performances?
Most of the theaters have opened.
That's great.
I'm not sure, I can't guarantee like their mask policy. I'm not sure of that, but no, for the most part, I believe that indoor theaters are opening their doors. And there's tons of different like performances though, like I said, the Nutcracker, but there's also a Christmas Carol is being played in a couple different places. There's a one-man show of the Christmas Carol, and
that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. There's also yeah, the Toby's Dinner Theater that's out in Columbia. They have some holiday. They have a Broadway holiday, so I think they bring together lots of holiday hits, and so it's more like a cabaret, if I'm using that term right, where just a lot of singing, a lot of dancing, a lot of fun. There's White Christmas. There's and there's definitely different types of Nutcracker. The ballet, of course. There's a puppet show that's the ballet at
Oh, fun.
the Glen Echo Puppet Theater, and so there's a lot of really fun holiday performances, and what a great experience. I know on a lot of the sites that I'm on, like the mommy sites, um, they want to get experiment or experience gifts for their kids, like, so
Mm.
not necessarily something. And I think plays and shows like that are what a great thing to do, to say like, let's buy tickets and let's have this experience and go see the ballet or go see a Christmas Carol. Or I even think somebody's doing Elf, based on the movie. And so if you're in need of a good suggestion for a fun night out with the family, I would, holiday performances would be a great one.
Are there any special deals that you've come across?
I love it that you mentioned that, because yes, so for residents of the Delmarva Peninsula, the Hyatt Regency Chesapeake Bay in Cambridge, they are offering this really awesome deal that if you book between now and January, I'm going to get this right, January 19th. So you have a couple months to book. And the room rates will start at $109 a night, and there's a 40% off weekend rates.
Hmm.
So they're offering this really, really great deal. So if you wanted an awesome getaway, they have fire pits. They have this adults only like hot tub that overlooks the Choptank River. They have nature trails. They have they have a lot that even I didn't realize how much that particular hotel had. And Cambridge is such a nice little sweet town there on the Eastern Shore, so it's not far away, and it's super family friendly. They have kids activities. They're going to have Santa. You can visit with Santa. So around the Christmas holiday, and and so that is something that they are offering, and we have all that information right on the website, because it even has a code, so you can just
Hmm.
book online.
So easy.
Yeah, so I've already put that in on my Christmas wish list, because I think that would just be a lot of fun. So
And then you said that deal, do you have to be a resident to get that special deal of the Eastern Shore?
I believe it has a Delaware, Maryland, or Virginia residents.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
perfect, easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so now my last question and the most important question. You just gave us a tremendous amount of information. How do people actually find out the details and buy the tickets, do the thing? Where is all of this information housed?
So all this information is housed first and foremost on ChesapeakeFamily.com. Super easy, the name, and you will find it. We have a really great on our menu bar, you can click on fun stuff to do. It's literally called fun stuff to do. And then the drop down, you will find our calendar of events. And that's something that I don't know if people know, that you can add your own events. So if you have an organization, or your kid's school is putting on a fundraiser or a performance, or anything, you can add things to our calendar totally for free. And so that's a really great place. That's one of our top rated sites. Pages on our site that people go to see for fun things to do. But then you can also drop down on that same fun things to do, and it'll say like holiday events, and boom, it'll be right there. We're going to include, we'll put this podcast up on our site as well. We update our site many times a day, and always trying to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information, and it will live there on our homepage. We also will post it. We're pretty big Facebook users. We're really active on Instagram as well. You can follow us on Instagram. We're on Twitter. I believe we even have a Pinterest page. So if you happen to find us there. And then again, I mentioned our e-newsletters. Easiest way to get the information on us and great articles to read and fun stuff to do. And that comes right to your inbox. And it's an opt-in, and it comes twice a week. We do one on Sunday so that you can get the events that are happening that week. And then the next one comes on Thursday. So then you know what the weekend events are. So we time it just so that not like you can look at it and not go, oh yeah, I want to do that and then forget about it. It's like on Thursday, you're like, oh great, this is something to do with my kids on Saturday. I can't wait. And then you book it. So we try and make it as easy as possible. But of course, if you can't find anything, you can always call. I'm always happy to talk on the phone.
Well, thank you so much, Claire Darcy of Chesapeake Family Life. She's the content manager, and she knows all about all the different events that are coming up in the next month or two. Thank you also to all of our viewers and listeners. Make sure that you do visit ChesapeakeFamilyLife.com, ChesapeakeFamily.com for up-to-date local information on home health and living for today's Maryland parent. And as usual, this episode will be archived on ChesapeakeFamily.com in video and podcast format. And we'll have all the links up to all the different lists and roundups on that page as well. I'm Janet Jefferson with Chesapeake Family Life and Third Floor Views. Thank you so much.